Graduate school, the looming, expensive crown jewel of higher education, unless you're a Ravenclaw. Many people spend years preparing their CV to get in. So why did I leave? Hiya folks, I'm Charlotte, and welcome to Charlotte Through the Web. A little under a year ago, in August of 2019, I was excited to finally be starting my master's program at what touts itself as the best school of social work in both the United States and the world. I had spent the last 8 years of my collegiate education preparing myself for that goal. This was going to be my third degree after an associate's and bachelor's in two quite different fields of study. I had worked in helping fields for a long time, with a lot of focus in policy and accessibility in healthcare, starting in high school, working with accessibility for youth in both sexual health provider offices and in school-based health centers. As an adult, I had worked with several hospitals and medical schools, providing training on healthcare accessibility for queer people, youth, people experiencing poverty, and people with chronic health conditions. I was excited for this program because I wanted to expand my influence, learn new ways to utilize my skills to reach and impact a larger number of people. I wanted to find more tried and tested pathways and platforms to create change. I had a very strong background working with social workers in all my past efforts, and found the philosophy and approach of social work to be most closely matching that of my own working philosophy. I also started my program because, in some ways, of my increasingly declining health. I wanted to find an area where I could still use my skills and efforts and passion to be effective, as more and more jobs were no longer feasible for me. As it turned out, the graduate school I had chosen, unlike my undergraduate alma mater, was no better. I had a variety of problems throughout my short-lived attempt. My declining health, albeit among them, was nowhere near the top offender. The first problem I had, like many grad students, was financial. I'm disabled and have lived on my own since I was 16. I don't have any money to pay a school outside of what they can offer me in aid. On top of that, tuition was more than a student loan would cover, meaning I depended on scholarship money to be able to afford my classes. This would normally be fine, except that I would lose all of that scholarship aid if I were to fail even one of my courses. Now, I'm a good student. I've gotten good marks at every school I've ever attended, but this school posed to be very different. See, my graduate school had incredibly strict attendance policies. In almost every course I had, every tardy counted as an absence, and every absence after the first would drop you a letter grade. This, combined with the fact that you need a B in order to pass in graduate school, was not a tenable option. My chronic headache has me bedridden at least once a week. I can't leave my house if it's too sunny, and memory loss has me perpetually late and missing things. On top of that, I had 3 hospital stays during the semester I attended alone. So turning each semester of school into a large financial gamble, essentially hinging on the lottery numbers of exactly where my sick days would line up, just wasn't an option. Fancy that. But Charlotte, you might be thinking, you made it through these 2 prior degrees. What makes this one any different? Well, you see, living in the United States as a disabled person, your ability to fairly do or access pretty much anything you want to do almost solely depends on the American with Disabilities Act, or the ADA. The problem is, some places follow the letter of the law, while others follow the spirit. At my previous schools, both faculty and staff were amazingly accommodating, saving seats for me where I could easily read lips, printing me extra materials in case I was late, letting me come in whenever I needed to take tests, and not putting caps on my attendance so I didn't have to destroy myself just to sit through a 40-minute lecture and drive an hour back to where I could afford to live. This school, however, had the unfortunate understanding that if they do not provide the reasonable accommodations I ask for, the most I could do is file a class action lawsuit. Meaning, if I was the only one having that specific problem, nothing could be done. And considering the university had been sued the previous winter for having 2 snow days, yes, a student sued the school because he claimed they were impeding his education by not risking other people's lives in hazardous weather conditions. They'd come up with a conservative solution for students in situations like mine: an attendance contract. Essentially, you could alter the attendance requirements for a course if and only if a professor agreed to the terms. And since no professor thinks their course is unimportant enough for you to miss it, if you're in the hospital or leaving your home feels like someone dumped gasoline over your skin and lit you on fire, none of them will ever agree, even if you have offered to attend via the university's Skype clone rather than just miss. This, combined with the university administration's general attitude of, if you can't bring it to me on paper in a bilia-proof wording, we won't do it, or make anyone else do it, that became a dead end. In the end, it was this attitude from the school that was really the final nail in the coffin. I had so many issues, from the university approving the license for a piece of software that would take notes for me, rather than them having to hire a cart service, but then, to this day, still never approving the spending to actually release it to me. Because when you have hearing issues like auditory processing disorder, which, if you don't know, means my ears work, but my brain is so bad at decoding sound and speech that I can't understand the vast majority of anything anyone says to me, you are busy using your eyes reading lips and can't take your own notes effectively. To teachers treating me with hostility, shaming me in front of other students, outright ignoring the accommodations I did have, and in 2 situations forced me into situations that caused me extreme pain. In the end, I had a final meeting with several of the deans of my school and my advisor to find a pathway through which I could actually finish my program. In the end, though, in both my eyes and the eyes of my advisor, they essentially didn't offer any method through which I could actually succeed. They instead suggested I do the online program, through which they only offered the first semester content without financial aid, or instead simply wait until I stopped being chronically ill, as if that was going to happen, to come back and reapply to the program. I wasn't the problem. As of now, I'm technically on medical leave till the semester starts in a few weeks, but I already know I'm not going back. So then why am I not applying for another program? Well, it comes down to the changes to the laws surrounding social work licensure in my state that went into effect just a few months ago. See, after you have an MSW, you can get a limited license. That lasts for 3 years. To get a full license, you need to accrue 4,000 hours of experience within 3 years. For reference, an average full-time worker will work around 2,000 hours in a year. Now, you can renew that limited license once, giving you 6 years. So, in theory, only being able to work some months of the year, and even then, probably not even half time, that's still doable. But on top of that, those hours have to be supervised, which means every week you have to pay someone $150 an hour to talk to them for 40 minutes to an hour, usually in a group setting, about how your week is going, or none of the hours from that week count. For those of you doing the math, by the way, that means someone doing full-time will spend around $15,600 if you're able to do it in one go. Now, that already sounds iffy, but this is the kicker. Michigan also introduced a new friendly policy where, in earning your 4,000 hours, any week where you didn't work at least 16 hours, none of those hours count. So if you're working half-time, if you're sick or too late a single day, your hours just stop accumulating. This essentially, for me, made completing any program here a huge waste of money. So I took a step back, way back, and remembered that what I actually want is to create resources and change. not spend 10 years of my likely limited lifespan trying to get a specific certification to then do the work I want to do. So here I am. I have lots more content coming down the pipeline for you on topics like disability, queer culture, cooking, Disney, Star Wars, and history. I plan on releasing both a vlog and a video like this one each week, chronic fatigue allowing. Have you had issues with accessibility in school? Share your story in the comments below. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, as it really helps this channel out. If you would like to see more of my content and would like to know when it's released, go ahead and subscribe down below and hit that notification bell icon, as YouTube has recently changed how their subscription system works. Thank you for watching. This has been Charlotte Through the Web. Yes, when I was 3, I named myself after a fictional spider. And until next time, keep rolling forward.